Talk through a number of things, and sometimes it's just trying to get a fella to relax, you know. When you know they're good players, the more you make of an issue, the worse it can become.
Lots happened in those 2 to 3 days together, obviously, because you only have to compare and contrast the team that finished the autumn tests with the team that played the first Six Nations game against France, and it was like they'd had a lobotomy. It like they'd had a complete psychological flip.
I mean, Rob Kearney made the point too. You know, he felt, rightly or wrongly, that the Munster players showed more passion in a Munster jersey than they did when they played for Ireland, and you know, that set the tone for the week, or for however long we were down.
There was 1 or 2 things to discuss, but the emphasis put on it is obviously greatly overemphasised. But it was an important get-together, but I don't think it's as important as some people like to make it out, you know.
That 2-day get-together, aside from the much-discussed question of whether the Munster players were as devoted or committed to the cause as they were when they played for their province, much more significantly, they evolved a game plan over the 2 or 3 days. They got all the feedback from the players. They discovered that there had been confusion in the autumn tests about what they were trying to do, and it was up to Kidney to take all that feedback and come up with a unique style of playing that was suitable to this team.
We found out a lot about each other. To Declan's credit, he made sure we stuck together and got the job done.
We came in with different backgrounds, different levels of knowledge, and we also got a team that was well experienced, and the secret was always lying in, you know, how we can use our knowledge, our experiences to the benefit of the team.
Sometimes when you have a bit of success, people look to one massive changing focal point that turned everything around. That wasn't the case. It was a help because we got a few things ironed out, but it wasn't the making or breaking of us.
The players did buy in, which was fantastic because they eventually owned what we did. And being confident in that regard, you know, it gave everybody around them you know, an air of confidence in ourselves. I don't know at that point in time we expected we were going to achieve what eventually occurred, but you know, I was quietly confident we'd do well.
It's good to live in hope, and Ireland will someday win another Grand Slam, please God, and you know, a championship, and even better still, please God, we'll be around when that actually happens.
It's only ever block by block. I think people lose perspective when you're talking back about a Grand Slam. You can't piece it together as that was how it was decided upon at the start.
France again look to find some gaps.
You know, in all the days I've been watching internationals, the French team are the most unpredictable. We'd had 3 games to work together, and we'd had 2 weeks of camp together. But there was a sense that we felt pretty prepared for it.
Particularly good, but Chabal picks. And Malzieu and Harin Orduki, and France are in.
I must say, even though at times when the French unleashed their power and their pace and their flair and their passion in their game, I still felt, you know, pretty confident.
There's no mad science behind it. It was simple. We just had to play hard, and we had to play better than we had done in November.
I think the guys coming in, you know, were brilliant for us. They were kind of a breath of fresh air, very confident guys, no real hang-ups about the past.
The whole way through training all week, we'd been practicing that, but we hadn't expected Rob to go on a little bit of a one-man mission the whole way. But it was lucky. It was nice to get a good pass from him.
You know, one thing that this team is really pleased with is that they have this inner belief, this inner tenacity.
So I just flicked it to Rog and hoped that a few fast guys were out there. Unfortunately, it was Jamie, but he did quite well in the end.
And Jamie, you know, the sort of feat he shows on the dance floor.
Then O'Gara, and then Heaslip, and he's got pace and a step. Jamie Heaslip. Oh, what a try!
It's great for us just to stand back sometimes and watch these young fellas how they operate and think about it. It's like, I don't think we were like it, but only other people can tell us that. We wouldn't be as confident genuinely as these fellas are, and that's great because they raised the levels again and the skill levels, and they just completely believe in themselves.
You know, we expected the French to defend a certain way, and it didn't occur that way. But the players were able to adapt very, very quickly and effectively attack the French, which probably suited us. It suits us a hell of a lot better.
In truth, at that moment, the Six Nations then became real. The potential for a Grand Slam became real because the French have been so...
No, the potential to win this game became...
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Yeah,
absolutely. You don't think about...
It was one game to win five.
We were in for the Grand Slam.
To win a Grand Slam.
But let me ask...
The Grand Slam is on.
That was the litmus test of that team mentally, in many respects. Of all the 5 games, France were the bugbearers. They'd won 7 of the 8 previous meetings. They'd effectively knocked Ireland out of the 2 previous World Cups. They were the bugbearers.
Genuinely, I felt that going into the Six Nations that, I was so used to starting on the bench that, maybe my time wouldn't come. And with Gordon coming back from injury, there was a chance that probably he might get the start ahead of me. So I was delighted to be able to start a match in the Six Nations for the first time. 20 minutes, or I'm not sure how long into the match, I got a nasty opening in the head, and I spent my time running to and fro from the doctor's office, getting stitched up, patched up, bled again, had to go off.
Best to Ferris, to O'Leary. Darcy stands them up, rounds them, and he's over!
I think the main thing I remember is being picked up off the ground by about 3 or 4 lads, and then I was like, actually, I must have scored this one. So it was kind of a combination of everything, It was putting the injury to bed, back playing for your country, which was an amazing honour every time.
I think everyone's fairly aware of, how quickly it can all change for you. I think it was just a year of just almost torture for him, and it was so tough to watch, watch him come in and get bad results and X-rays and things like that.
It meant a lot on a load of different levels. I'd been picked up by my teammates, but my friends as well. I think they're sometimes the moments that you play rugby for.
A lot of things happen in sport, but the emotion in that showed their togetherness as a group, and that's not an orchestrated thing. That's either in them or it's not in them.
2 years ago, Ireland looked on the brink of victory, and from a restart, France turned it all around.
I remember sitting in the change rooms afterwards against France, and Paul turned around to me and says, "That's the first time I've ever beaten France." And I was like, "Well," I was like, "That's my first game in the Six Nations, and I've beaten France." And I was just like on such a high.
The boys really kept it within themselves. They knew we had a long way to go, and I think Drico made a comment after the game. You can't win a Six Nations with the first game, but you can contribute to losing one.
O'Gara to Brian O'Driscoll, keeps the ball in hand, and Gordon Darcy makes a lovely break. Darcy up as far as the Welsh 22. Ireland need to be disciplined, not go off their feet. To Maltz O'Leary down.
I remember playing in Cardiff before, and at the time Wales won their Grand Slam, and I've rarely heard noise like it, and it was similar enough, the start of our game. Because of the expectation and the anticipation.
The nerves that you had and any kind of feelings that you had were pretty much gone once that ball got kicked off. It was for me, it was kind of straight into business.
There was nothing really off limits for us to try and attempt throughout the championship. We were all kind of told to go out and play with our heads up.
I like to get my hands on the ball early too, but it was just one of those occasions where it was so intense.
Injury on the near side to one of the Irish players.
Yeah, I knew I was in trouble straight away. I think the boys could hear me screaming from the sideline. It was sticking out of my hand, but I got off the pitch and got it stitched back up. The head doctor came in and said, "Listen, it was an open wound like that and the bone was sticking out, and we can't let you continue." And then the kind of emotions started to come in, and just took myself into the change room for 10 minutes and just sat there and had to think of what was going on, and I said, listen, stuff